You test drive a used car. It looks clean. It drives smooth. The seller seems honest. You buy it. 2 weeks later, the transmission dies. You tell yourself you got unlucky. You didn't. What just happened to you has a name, a paper, and a Nobel Prize attached to it. And it explains why almost every used car market on the planet works exactly the way you think it shouldn't. Here's the strange part. Most sellers aren't lying. Most cars on a used car lot are perfectly fine. And yet, somehow, the used car market has a reputation for being where decent vehicles go to become risky bets. That's not random. That's not bad luck stacking up across millions of transactions. It's a structural problem. One person in the deal knows something the other doesn't. Economists have a specific term for what happens next. They call it adverse selection. And once you understand the mechanism, you'll realize it's not just sitting in car lots. It's inside your insurance policy, your job applications, and your bank's interest rate. Picture a used car lot with 100 cars on it. Half of them are genuinely good. Well maintained. No hidden issues. The other half are lemons, American slang for a car with problems the seller already knows about and isn't advertising. From the outside, they look identical. Same model. Same year. Similar mileage. Same shine in the listing photo. As a buyer, you can't tell which cars are which just by looking. You could pay for an inspection. You could run a vehicle history report. Most buyers don't bother because it costs time and money, and the listing already looks fine on paper. So you do what's rational. You estimate. You assume the car in front of you is probably average, somewhere between a great car and a lemon. And you offer a price that reflects that average. This feels like a perfectly reasonable way to shop. Millions of people do exactly this, every single day, in used car markets around the world. It is also, mathematically, where the entire market starts to break. Here's the mechanism. Adverse selection. When one side of a deal knows more than the other, and the less informed side can't verify quality, they default to paying an average price for everything on offer. That sounds harmless. It isn't. Picture a bag of apples where half are great and half are rotten, but you can't tell which until you bite. You're not going to pay full price for a maybe rotten apple. You'll pay something in between, a price that reflects the average of the whole bag. Now think about who's selling. The owner of a genuinely great apple knows exactly what they have. They're not going to hand it over for an average price. They'll keep it, or wait for a buyer who can actually tell the difference. The owner of a rotten apple is thrilled to take that average price. It's more than the apple is worth. So the good apples start leaving the market. The bad apples stay. Buyers notice the average quality dropping, so they lower their average price again to compensate. That lower price pushes out the next tier of decent apples too. Round after round, the same thing happens. The bag gets worse. The price drops. The good apples keep disappearing. This is the actual mechanism George Akerlof described in a 13-page paper, published in the Quarterly Journal of Economics in 1970, titled The Market for Lemons. The paper was rejected 3 times before publication. The American Economic Review and the Review of Economic Studies both called it trivial. The Journal of Political Economy rejected it on different grounds. Its reviewers argued that if Akerlof were right, economics would look completely different. It went on to win Akerlof a share of the 2001 Nobel Prize in Economics, alongside Michael Spence and Joseph Stiglitz. He didn't actually study apples. He used used cars as his core example, precisely because every driver intuitively understands the problem without needing an economics degree. Apply it to the lot from before. The seller of a genuinely great car knows it's great. They're not going to accept an average car price for it, that price assumes a risk of hidden problems their car simply doesn't have. So that seller does one of two things. They sell privately, to someone who can verify the car directly. Or they just keep driving it. Either way, the great car never makes it onto the open lot. What's left, disproportionately, are the cars whose owners are perfectly happy to take an average price, because they already know the car is worth less than that. Here's the thing. The lemons don't drive the good cars out of the market. The good owners do. Voluntarily. Because the market won't pay them what their car is actually worth. The dishonest sellers don't even need to lie. The honest ones just quietly walk away. This same structure shows up anywhere one side can't verify what the other side already knows. Health insurers can't fully verify how healthy an applicant actually is. Price every policy at the average risk, and healthy people often decide it's not worth it and skip coverage, while sicker applicants happily sign up. The risk pool gets worse. Premiums climb to match it. Same mechanism, different uniform. Online marketplaces have the identical problem. A stranger selling a used phone on a classified site can't prove it isn't damaged. That's the entire reason eBay built a seller rating system before it built almost anything else. Reputation became the substitute for information the buyer couldn't otherwise get. Lenders face it too. A bank can't fully verify how risky any individual borrower actually is, so it charges everyone in a given risk category roughly the same interest rate. Safer borrowers in that category go shop elsewhere for a better rate. Riskier ones stay, because nowhere else will treat them this well. Hiring works the same way, in a quieter form. A company can't fully verify how good a candidate actually is from a resume and an interview, so salary offers tend to cluster around an average for the role. Exceptional candidates, the ones who know they're worth more than that average, are often the first to walk toward a company that can actually prove it's worth a premium. Different industries. Same shape. One party can't see what the other already knows, so the market quietly sorts itself toward the worse outcome, not because anyone wants it to, but because nobody can stop it from happening. Once you see this, certain things stop feeling random. The reason certified pre-owned programs exist isn't marketing. It's a direct patch for adverse selection, a way for a good seller to prove a car deserves a higher price than the market default. The reason every app you use now begs for a review is the same patch, rebuilt for the internet. Warranties, inspections, ratings, vehicle history reports, none of them are really about trust in the abstract. They're tools built specifically to let good sellers separate themselves from bad ones, in a market that would otherwise average them together. Next time you see a deal that looks suspiciously average, a freelancer with 0 reviews, a loan with a strangely flat rate, a car with no history report attached, you're not looking at bad luck. You're looking at a market that hasn't solved its information problem yet. And next time you wonder why a genuinely great deal seems so hard to find, you'll know where to look. Not for the dishonest sellers. For the honest ones who already walked away. That transmission that failed 2 weeks after you bought the car? The seller probably didn't lie to you. They probably just sold you the average. Somewhere on a different lot, a genuinely great car like the one you wanted never even got listed. Its owner already knew exactly what it was worth. That's not bad luck. That's the market for lemons. If this channel feels like a good deal, that's worth being suspicious of. So do the diligence. Subscribe. It's the one piece of information asymmetry you get to fix for free.